By now, you've probably heard that Sony announced they will be discontinuing physical media in 2028. And if you're like me, and like most gamers, you've probably been drifting towards digital gaming for years. So when Sony announced they're killing physical discs, you might not have realized the significance or the nefarious intent behind it. Because this isn't modernization. This isn't convenience. This is entrenched corporate greed. And Sony is setting up their users to be extorted so severely that they are literally killing the console industry. And you might be thinking, but Shaggy, you just said you've been moving towards digital gaming. And you're right. I'm a PC gamer. I don't even own a current gen console. I was still rocking my PS4 until a few years ago when I built my first gaming rig. But here's the thing. The reason you went digital is not the same reason Sony wants to force you to go digital. You went digital for convenience. Sony wants you to go digital for control. This is pure corporate greed. Before we even begin to talk about Grand Theft Auto 6 and how they're setting this up for price gouging, we need to talk about the timing. Because the timing is everything. On June 27th, 2026, Sony announced that 551 movies would be deleted from accounts of users who paid real money to purchase these films. No refunds, no compensation, no apology, just gone. There are currently 118 million PlayStation Network users worldwide. Now, these movies were only removed from European users. Well, there's about 48 million PlayStation Network users in Europe. And to no one's surprise, neither Sony nor PlayStation is keeping the official numbers on how many users lost films. Of course they aren't. Because if they did, and if they told you the real number, you'd riot. So let's be conservative. Let's say only 1% of European users lost a movie they purchased. Well, that's 500,000 people that Sony stole from. And yes, I'm using the word stolen because even though those users technically only bought a digital license, that is not how it's marketed. You would never buy something if the seller told you, hey, you can use this as much as you want until one day, without warning, I'll take it back. When you lease or rent something, you're given a fixed term. You know exactly what you're paying for. You know exactly how long you're allowed to use it. Sony didn't do that. Sony sold those movies as purchases and then deleted them. And here's the part of the story that makes it even darker. This isn't the first time. In 2023, Sony did the exact same thing with Discovery content purchased inside the PlayStation Store. They pulled content users paid for. Again, with no warnings and no refunds. And again, surprise, surprise, Sony kept no official records of how many users lost content. 2 major content purges. 2 times they refused refunds. 2 times they refused transparency. That's not incompetence. This is a pattern. The backlash in 2023 was so significant that Sony agreed to let users keep their Discovery content, but only for a temporary extension. That extension expired in June 2026. And guess what else happened in June 2026? Sony deleted StudioCanal content. They didn't learn. They didn't change. They didn't improve. They simply waited until the outrage died down and then did it again. This is why we must beware of false promises. Sony will listen when the uproar is loud enough, but only temporary if we don't keep up the pressure. Now let's talk about Microsoft. Because Microsoft also deletes digital media. They also revoke licenses. And they have shut down servers too. They're not saints. But here's the difference. Microsoft is at least trying to preserve ownership. They introduced a system that allows you to scan old physical disks to create digital license tied to your account. That license is transferable. It's permanent. It's proof you own the game. It protects you from future delisting. And it allows you to keep playing even if the disc dies. Is it perfect? No. Is it better than Sony's? Ha! We deleted your movie. Cry about it. Absolutely. Microsoft is at least acknowledging the problem. Sony is pretending the problem doesn't even exist while actively making it worse. People laugh at physical media like it's outdated. But physical media is consumer protection. With a disc, you can buy used, borrow, lend, resell, preserve, play offline. You actually own that game. And let me make this personal for a second. I still own my Nintendo 64. And I don't have a copy of Mario Party 2 anymore. Because life happens. Things get lost. But if I wanted to relive my childhood, I could go buy a physical copy today. I could plug it in, turn it on, and play it exactly the way I did decades ago. No license, no server, no expiration date, no corporation deciding whether I'm allowed to enjoy something that I paid for. That's ownership. That's freedom. And that's what Sony is taking away. And this is where we need to talk about the bigger issue. Digital ownership isn't ownership. When you buy a digital game or movie, you're not buying the product. You're buying permission. Permission that can be revoked. Permission that can expire. Permission that can be deleted. Permission that can be taken away without warning. You can't resell digital games. You can't lend digital games to your buddies. You can't borrow your friends' digital games. You can't preserve a digital game. You can't protect it, make sure it's safe. You can't archive digital games. You can't put it away. Like I was just talking about Mario Party 2. Come back to it, pick it up after 20 years and play with it. You can't play digital games offline forever. You can't keep digital games if the servers shut down. Physical media protects consumers. Digital media protects corporations. And Sony knows this. That's exactly why they're exploiting it. And let's be real. PlayStation didn't raise the price of the PS5 for no reason. They planned the price update around the release of Grand Theft Auto 6. They knew millions of players had been waiting for GTA 6. And countless of them have been waiting for it to come out before buying the new gen consoles. But here's the part nobody's talking about. Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to set a precedent. If Rockstar charges $80 for a game, Sony will say okay. If Rockstar charges $100 for a game, Sony won't care. If Rockstar charges $120 for a game, Sony makes more money. And once GTA 6 proves people will pay whatever price is asked, every publisher will follow. GTA 6 isn't just a game. It's a test. A test to see how far they can push pricing in a digital-only future where you cannot buy used, borrow, rent, resell, or wait for price stops. Digital only means no escape from whatever price they choose. GTA 6 is the perfect storm. The most anticipated game in history. The most expensive game ever made. The biggest FOMO magnet ever created. And the moment the industry decides how much they can charge you, Sony wants to make sure you have no alternative. And here's the future Sony is building for you. A world where PS Plus, PS Now, cloud gaming, streaming, movies, subscription bundles replace ownership entirely. A world where you pay monthly fees for access. A world where your games can disappear. A world where your movies can be deleted. A world where you own nothing. That's not paranoia. That's the direction Sony is openly moving toward. Sony isn't just killing discs. They're killing ownership. They're killing consumer rights. They're killing the ability to preserve games. They're killing the secondhand market. They're killing the ability to share games with friends. They're killing the idea that when you buy something, it's yours. And they're doing it intentionally. Because once everything is digital, everything is controlled. And once everything is controlled, everything can be monetized. The Discovery Content Purge taught us something important. If the uproar is loud enough, Sony will listen. But the StudioCanal Purge taught us something even more important. Sony's promises are only temporary. They extended access for 30 months and then deleted the Discovery content anyway. They waited until the outrage died down. They waited until people forgot. And then they did it again. This is why we have to stay vigilant. Because if we let Sony normalize deleting what we paid for, if we let them normalize killing physical media, if we let them normalize digital-only consoles, then gaming as we know it is over. This isn't about nostalgia. This isn't about discs. This is about ownership and Sony taking it away. This isn't the last time I'll be calling out corporate greed. And if you saw my video on institutional indifference in Kingdom Come Deliverance, you know we've been fighting these kinds of problems since the Middle Ages, and we're still fighting them today.
The only way we're gonna get through this is by sticking together, being a team. Trust?
Trust.